Hi, y'all, and thanks so much for joining today. We'll get started in just a minute. As a reminder, this session will be recorded, so if you'd prefer not to be seen or heard, please make sure to both mute your microphone and your camera.
Sorry, did you say we should unmute or mute? What is that?
If you could please mute yourself, that way we just don't have it shown up in the recording, but there'll be time for questions later on too.
Okay, thanks.
You are welcome to keep your camera on if you'd like, but it's not required by any means, so up to each individual. Awesome. Well, I'll go ahead and get started. First, I'll introduce myself. My name is Jackie Phillips, and I serve as the Senior Coordinator for Student Engagement and Engagement Leadership and Service. I have the wonderful opportunity to work with student organizations, so with registration, different involvement opportunities such as the Digital Involvement Fair and our Involvement Ambassador Program. I want to thank you all for attending today's webinar on the Involvement Fair, where I'll be sharing some different information about both registering for the Involvement Fair from the organization viewpoint, and then some tips and tricks for hosting your digital meet and greet during the event. Feel free to send any questions in the chat box. Since it's just me today, I'll probably try to look at it throughout the session, and then we'll definitely answer questions at the end. But feel free as they pop into your head to just send them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. So to start us off, I'll share just some of the event details. So our Digital Involvement Fair is going to be taking place on Thursday, September 3rd from 7 to 10 p.m. While not in person, it will still be a live event, so it will be interactive via the Involvement Network. And so it will be for 3 hours, and so organizations have the opportunity to host a digital meet and greet room or a virtual table during this 3-hour time block. During the fair, attendees will be able to view participating organizations. They'll be able to meet online with student organizations and chat with them. And so each organization has the opportunity to really shape their digital meet and greet however they'd like it to be. So for each organization, this might look a little different, but students will have the opportunity to join individual Zoom meeting or online meetings in order to talk with organization leaders and learn more about their organization and how they can join. They'll also have the opportunity to request membership via the Involvement Network. So they can request to join the organization, and they can also chat with our office and our involvement ambassadors to learn more about different student organizations. So we'll ask them questions about what their interests are and what organizations they're interested in learning more about, and then help direct them to the individual organizations during the fair to chat more with those members. And just a friendly housekeeping reminder, you have to be a registered student organization to participate in the Digital Involvement Fair on the 3rd. And so if your organization has not completed the registration process, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate or host a digital meet and greet through our Digital Involvement Fair. So how to register for the Involvement Fair. I'll briefly go through the steps, and then I'll share my screen on the Involvement Network to show what this looks like when you go to register your organization yourself. And so you'll end up going to the Involvement Network, which is involve.uga.edu, and then you'll want to select your organization from memberships, and then click Manage Organization. There you'll see a click Sign Up under upcoming virtual fair events, and you'll be able to input your organization description, so a summary about your organization. And the cool thing is students will be able to search keywords in order to find different organizations to join their digital meet and greets. And so make sure within your description, in your summary, you're being as descriptive as possible, sharing what your organization does so that they can search keywords, and then your organization will pop up and they'll be able to join your digital meet and greet. You're going to have to include a valid URL, and so we're highly encouraging student organizations to share a Zoom link. And so this way, since UGA does provide free Zoom accounts for all students, everyone will have access to the platform. And so we're asking that you create your Zoom link through UGA so that not only do you have unlimited time so that it won't expire every 40 minutes, but this way too, it's easier for students as they jump from one organization's meet and greet or table that they're not having to switch back and forth between different online platforms. So if you already submitted your registration and did not include a Zoom link, no worries, there are opportunities to edit it, or if you did not go through your UGA account, you're going to want to update the link by going through UGA so that students aren't being kicked out of your Zoom meeting every 40 minutes. Another thing is you're going to want to ensure your organization page on the Involvement Network is up to date. Since this event is taking place via a digital format and on the Involvement Network, many students have already started looking through different organization pages. And so you want to make sure that your organization page is up to date. So as they start looking now, they're finding the most accurate information about when does your organization meet, what your organization does, and anything else that you want to share with them. And when you submit your registration for the Involvement Fair, unfortunately, with this being the first year that the Involvement Network is hosting this, there's not currently a way to edit it after you've submitted it. So if you do need to make changes to your Zoom link, or if you figured out a different way you want to describe or summarize your organization, just email me at ugaels@uga.edu, and I'll be happy to update your submission for you. So I'm going to stop sharing this PowerPoint real quickly, and I am going to go ahead and share the Involvement Network to walk y'all through what the registration process looks like. So when you log into the Involvement Network at involve.uga.edu, you'll be taken to this home page. You're going to want to log in with your MyID up in the right corner. And after you've logged in, your front page will look like this. So any organization that you're a member of or an officer for will show up under memberships. I'll use ELS as the example. And so after you click on the organization, it will load. Sometimes it takes a little longer than others, depending on how many people are on the Involvement Network at the time. I will try reloading it. Since it is taking just a little longer to load, well, let's see if it will load for me here. Since it's taking a little longer, I'll go back to the PowerPoint, but when I show you a example of what the virtual fair will look like, I'll make sure that we come back here. So I will pull back up the PowerPoint. So when preparing for your virtual tabling or your digital meet and greet, make sure as an organization you're thinking about what your elevator pitch will be. So how are you going to explain your organization to students? So think about what your organization mission is, what different activities or events you put on, what organization meetings look like, and why a student should get involved. So in doing that, think about reasons why someone should join your organization. What is it that you love about your organization that you want to share with others? So as an organization, come up with talking points that you'll share during the virtual tabling or during your digital meet and greet to share with students why they should consider joining your organization or what it is that makes you so passionate about it. And then make sure you share these with organization leaders so that you're sharing a unified message, but then also encouraging student leaders as they talk to students to share their personal experience with the organization. You'll also want to think about roles for the evening. So through Zoom, who's going to be managing the chat? Who might be assigning breakout rooms if that's a feature you choose to use? Or who's going to be greeting people as they come in? So thinking through what you want your digital meet and greet to look like and thinking through who's going to be doing what so that things can go as smooth as possible during the actual event. You'll also want to test technology, so make sure that Zoom link works. Have different organization members sign in early to make sure that it's working so that if something is going wrong or if there was an accidental typo, that we have a chance to fix that before the event goes live at 7 p.m. And then you'll also want to create a communication channel for organizational members. So a way to chat during the event if you need more people to log in or if anything's going wrong, that you just have an easy way to chat, whether that's through your organization GroupMe, through email, whatever it is that y'all use, just make sure you have something set up to be able to communicate during the event. For managing your digital meet and greet, you might want to consider adding a wait room to your Zoom meeting link as you schedule it. So a waiting room will allow you to wait to allow attendees to be put in until you're ready. So this way, as your organization members join, you have time to touch base, all take a deep breath and get prepared before attendees just start popping in. So consider adding that, and that way you have a little bit more time and a little more control over who and when people are joining your Zoom digital meet and greet. Also, make sure that you have at least one representative tabling in your digital meet and greet at a time. We recommend having at least two so that someone can help with the technology aspects, so managing the chat, moving people around, but then also just so that there's someone always readily available to talk with students as they come in. Since this is the first time we're hosting this event, the flow of traffic may not be consistent, but so you might have more people coming in at once, or it might be a little slow at times. So just remaining flexible and having enough people that as students are coming in, that there's someone to chat with them and answer their questions about the organization, just to share what the organization does. You can also share documents and videos with attendees, so through the screen sharing feature. So usually in the live event, the in-person event, when you're handing out flyers or different documents, sharing and showcasing the organization, you can still do that by sharing your screen via Zoom. So that it's up so that they can read about the organization and ask questions as well. So still feel free to create any promotional materials and just find other ways to share that. And if you are wanting to hand out promotional items, as you would have during the in-person fairs in the past, feel free to still order them or give out past promo items. Just find some other safe ways to do that through tabling events outside of the digital involvement fair, or setting up a time for attendees to come meet you on campus and get any promotional items if that's something you'd like to continue doing. And then also ask your organization members to add their positions or their title with their name, or make sure that their name, so that as people are popping in, they're able to know who they're going to be talking to and what their role within the organization is. So how to engage participants during the event. We encourage you to get creative and be enthusiastic. So if you're enthusiastic about talking about your organization, students are going to be really excited to learn more about it. Consider creating fun Zoom backgrounds for members to use, so that as attendees are popping in and talking to you, they can see different backgrounds, maybe learn more about the personalities of the organization, learn more about the organization from the backgrounds that students are using. And then in addition to providing just an open forum for students to ask questions about the organization, consider adding some interactive pieces. So maybe doing some trivia games, having an icebreaker question. There's tons of online games that you can play together by sharing your screen, or by sharing paint and doing drawing, whatever that is. But maybe consider doing some kind of activity to really break the ice and have it as more of a social setting, or you can stick with the traditional question answer, whatever your organization wants. And so on that topic, considering whether or not you want it to be more structured or more informal drop-in like regular tabling. And so I've seen some organizations submit that they're going to be doing presentations. So they've created a presentation schedule stating that every 30 minutes, they're going to do a short presentation to provide information about the organization, whereas others are doing it more of, hey, just drop in when you have a chance, and we'll just chat with you, maybe play some games. So really considering how many members are available to table and what you want this to look like. And so if you'd like to create more of a formal presentation and, present for a few minutes every 30 minutes, that's awesome. If not, feel free to just have it informal and just chat with people as they come in. It's really however your organization wants to manage the digital meet and greet room, or whatever y'all feel will be best for your organization. I highly encourage considering the use of breakout rooms. And so these can be pre-assigned. So you can already have organization members in individual breakout rooms. So as students come in, you can greet them and then assign them a breakout room to have more one-on-one conversations with organization members. So that's a little less intimidating, instead of coming in and having a bunch of organization members or a bunch of other attendees, students that are interested in the organization, all being in one room. You can have it to where organization members are then randomly paired with students as they come in. So you can do that by randomly assigning and doing that at any point during your 3-hour block, or you can have it already set up so that as students come in, you automatically pair them up and move them into a breakout room. For communication, make sure you're including details about what your digital meet and greet is going to look like in your summary when you submit your registration for the involvement fair. So if there's a password for your Zoom meeting, or if you're going to be doing presentations, or if it's going to be, if there's going to be games or just a question and answer, make sure you include that in your summary, just so students know as they're searching keywords and finding your organization, what to expect, so that they're not coming in and then there's a presentation and they didn't realize that's what was going to be happening. So just very briefly, share that if you are going to be doing something very specific. It's also totally okay to be doing just a informal question and answer. It's really whatever your organization would like to do. Share on social media that your organization will be participating, so that as students are looking up your organization pages on social media, they're seeing that, hey, you'll be participating in the involvement fair, and that they should join between 7 and 10 to come chat with you. So make sure to share that. There's no need to share your exact Zoom link, because when they log into the involvement network, they'll have the ability to find that. And as I'll show you in a minute, they can click on join and it will bring them right to your Zoom or online meeting. Create a form to collect participants' contact information. So as they come in, maybe have a Google form that they can fill out, or a Qualtrics, anything to collect any information that you want so that you can then follow up with them. And so maybe that's collecting their emails, or collecting their phone numbers, however your organization communicates, or sharing a group me they can join. But this way you can follow up with them after the involvement fair with any upcoming meetings or events. And then I am now going to go back to the involvement network, and hopefully it will have loaded for us. And this way I can show you both the sign up as well as what the virtual fair will look like. So back to the home page. To sign up, you'll want to click on your organization, and then you're going to want to click on Manage Organization up in the top right corner. And so as you can see here, it now takes you to a page where you'll see upcoming virtual fair events. The only fair listed will be the Fall 2020 Involvement Fair, and you'll want to click Sign Up. And here you'll be taken to the questions. So you'll want to provide a summary of your organization. So what your organization does, any key information. Remember, they'll be able to search keywords. So make sure to include anything that you think they might want to search. So if you're a service-based organization, make sure you include service so that if they're searching for service, they'll be able to find that. Another cool thing is whatever your organization had chosen as categories when you registered, they'll also be able to search through those categories to find different organizations that are participating based on how they're classified within the involvement network. Here you'll provide your online link. And so although it does have the option for Skype or other platforms, we do ask that you try to stick with Zoom. Unfortunately, we didn't have the ability to change this wording. But we are requesting that all organizations use Zoom and make sure they create it through their UGA account. And then you'll just click submit. So it's a very short form, shouldn't take very long to fill out. And as I mentioned before, if you do need to make changes to either your Zoom link or your summary, please email us, since unfortunately there's not a way to edit it on your own after signing up. So on the night of the 3rd, between 7 and 10 p.m., there will be a icon that will pop up on the front page of the involvement network that will say join the involvement fair. And then once a student clicks on that, this is what the involvement fair will look like. And so as you can see here, there is a help desk. And so students will be able to visit the help desk, which is a Zoom meeting link with ELS staff, as well as some of our involvement ambassadors. And so if students are having any issues with the involvement network or don't really know where to start in terms of which organizations to visit, or they just want help figuring out which organizations to go and pop in and talk to, they can visit us. Or if you're having any difficulties, feel free to visit the help desk and chat with one of our staff members, and we'll be able to help walk through or help fix anything that's going wrong the night of. So as you can see here, the organizations that have registered will show up. Currently, we have about 200 organizations that have registered, and hopefully we'll continue to see that number increase. And so organizations will show up with their description, and a student can then choose to click request to join. So that will be a request to join their involvement network page. So to join the organization via the involvement network, or they can click meet online, and that will then direct them automatically to the Zoom meeting. And so throughout the night, students will be able to search. So I'll search service, and any organization that might have used that within the description, it will come up here. They can also search by category. And so once again, these categories are based on what was put in a registration. And so if you'd like to see what categories your organization is currently under, or if you want to add any, feel free to edit that through your organization page. So here I can look up based on any categories, and organizations will pop up that are members of those categories. So they can search both by keyword, they can search by categories, and all they have to do is click the Meet Online in order to be taken to your page. And then here's the short descriptions. And so that's a little bit more about both the event and how to sign up. If anyone has any questions, feel free to send those in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them for everyone. Or feel free to unmute yourself to ask a question, and I'm happy to talk more about the registration process or the actual event the night of. And our office will be working on providing details to participants with a how-to, so what to expect the night of. And so we'll be posting that on social media starting later this week. But if you have a question, feel free to ask.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So for the night of Thursday, September 3rd, and we want to like provide a contact sheet for like just visitors who are coming to talk to us, would you recommend like creating a Google form and putting that in like the chat that they can like click on, or where would we put that like contact info sheet?
Yeah, I'd recommend sending it in the chat. Just remember that when you send something in the chat, if that attendee hadn't already been in the conversation during that time, it won't stay there all night. So for example, if you sent it at the beginning, but someone came in closer to 8, you'll just need to keep resending it so that it shows up for them. But I think the chat's a great way to send them that link in order to ask any questions or to submit their contact information.
Okay, so if you like put it in the chat, it's not permanent. You'd have to like re-put it in there.
Correct. So if I was to send something right now in the chat, only those that are currently in the call can see it. And let's say someone else joined us a minute from now, the chat shows up blank for them. They only can see what's in the chat from the time they joined the call.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Jackie, I had a question real quick.
Yeah.
So, I know you were talking about Zoom and like setting up this, we have to set up the link for it. Could you possibly walk through the steps of like actually doing that? But because you said it was a certain format you guys wanted it to be in.
Sure, no problem. Give me 1 second, I'll share my screen and I am happy to walk through Zoom.
Appreciate it.
No problem. So you're gonna wanna go to the UGA Zoom. Quite honestly, I have now bookmarked it. But if you type into Google UGA Zoom, it will come right up. The link for it is also uga.zoom.us. And so you're gonna wanna sign in. It will ask for your MyID. And then here you can schedule all of your meetings through UGA, and it's free for all students, faculty, and staff. And so to create a meeting, you'll want to click on meetings, and then you'll be able to schedule a new meeting. And so here you can see all of my upcoming meetings. And so the nice thing is you can go back and edit a meeting. So after you've created, if you're like going back and forth about whether or not you want a waiting room, or if you want a password, you can always go and edit that after you've created it, and the link will remain the same. So here I can put my involvement fair. So you can name it, you can add a description. You'll want to make it for the 3rd from 7 to 10. The nice thing too is even if you started at 7, members of your organization can join your Zoom link earlier than that. Zoom does have flexibility for that. And then here, registration, you probably do not need. This requires individuals to fill out a short form before they're given the link. Since they're already going to be only accessing your link by logging into the involvement network, you don't really need that extra security measure. However, if you want to collect email addresses or any additional information, it does allow you to ask questions or be provided with who plans to attend ahead of time. So if you are doing a presentation schedule or just want to provide them with additional information, feel free to do that, and that will give you everyone that plans on attending beforehand. And then you could reach out to them with any additional information. Here is where you can choose to have a passcode or a waiting room. You can also choose whether or not you want people to be able to use their cameras. and whether or not they can join from a computer or if they can only join through the telephone. More likely than not, probably clicking both so that they have the option to call in. And then here under meeting options, you have the option to do enable join before host. I would recommend for this event, maybe turning that off so that people can't join the meeting way ahead of time if they're just testing out the link. But remember, if you do click, if you disable this, then no one will be able to get on until you've joined the call. So if you potentially might have to run late or you want to allow someone else to start the meeting, then you'll want to enable join before the host. And then you can also mute participants upon entry. And then you also have the option of recording it if for some reason you wanted to do that. And you can go way deeper into settings by clicking on settings. And this will allow you to choose things whether or not people can share screens, whether or not people can annotate. So if you want to do an icebreaker where people draw on the screen, you can choose to allow that here. So definitely just go through your settings and see what's currently turned on as you schedule the meeting based on what your organization wants to do.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
I have a real quick question. How many
Yeah.
people did you say can be hosting? I mean, how many people can be there at the table or, doing the event from one club?
Yeah, so from one club, there is no limit. We recommend having at least two and making sure someone's on at all times. Potentially creating shifts or signups could be really helpful, but it's truly up to your organization and how many people are available to sign up at each time. So based on however many people are free to join. And so that can be as many as you want or just two people if that's what works best for your organization.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Feel free to send them in the chat or ask out loud. And as we wait to see if there's any more questions, if anyone has any topics or ideas for future student organization Zoom series, feel free to share those here or to email us at ugaels@uga.edu. We really hope to continue being a resource throughout this semester as we all adapt and continue to learn how to manage our organizations during this time. So if there's anything that you have questions about or you just love for us to be able to chat more about, feel free to share those ideas with me because we'd love to implement them and find future times to chat more about them. So if anyone has any questions, I'll stay around, but thank you all for attending today. And I look forward to seeing y'all participate in the Involvement Fair on September 3rd.